Hi everyone, it's Jen from Mind's Eye, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the Look into the Unknown, the psychic medium reading about obscurities. Earlier today, we were talking about Jeffrey Epstein and how he is highly difficult and hard to understand. But it really wasn't hard to understand because everything is out there, and they said that they're going to put it right out there and that we'll be able to know everything. So it really was an interesting conversation on how it came about through JFK, through Appalachia, through Steve Irwin again, through the way it all played out. So an obscurity is like a lock-a-block. It's not occulted. You can see right through it, but you also can't see past your nose. You are aware that it's there and it's true. And one of the questions that actually came up was about how Connecticut was having a lot of issues with PSYOP and marijuana. So let's actually look into this on MK Ultra and also PSYOP. What do we need to know? This is a little bit deeper, a little bit harder, a little bit knowing. But it really isn't nothing that it should be known. And then I'm saying, are you seeing colors? Are you doing all these things? Like boil it down to simplicity of your daily life and what you already know about a situation. That's all it is. It really is. So when I look at this, it is a form of trickery. It is like this form of like pace, but it's still ancient lore. It's still ancient past to where it has roots, to this whole like divine splendor of senses, of like euphoric effect. I can't even say effect. Where it is known, so we'll take wings to health, toxicity, and then what haunts us, it is the fact of the basis that whatever we are using these concoctions to what I call the DEA nightmare of polypharmacy, of where Hitler gained his notorious reign through multiple sources of over-the-counters, drugs, and a quiet place of growth, that you can't even believe it. When you see this, you have to say, are you living in a fantasy? Are you in reality? Well, look at how it is. I already know. I've been out for 4 years, and it's still the same. To a point where it comes to a trolling of a wit and fun. So actual definition of PSYOP is the obscurity of the vision to the senses of the nose that affects the hearing to the taste to the GI, where you run to the point where it's rancid, like Julie Garland, to what I can see as a psychic, like there's something wrong with Ariana Grande by the way they are skinny, to the point where you say, are you a drug addict? Because you lost weight so hard and so fast. So when I look at this and I say, no, there is something else to this. It's a mystery. It really is. Their urine smells. It's like Coke bottle rum. It literally has nastiness. MK Ultra, it's like talking to a brick wall all day long, even though it's right there in front of them. That is what made Jeffrey Dahmer so perfectly ill, is that he could literally take Miralax or a laxative and have a drink of gin, and he was done with everything. It had nothing to do with powers of the mind. Everything was core. Historically, it's happened before. Son of Sam, stuff with us. So why is it scary? Because everyone's been saying it? No, it's usually rare. These things are rare. So when they wake up, did they actually crash into the vehicle? Did they actually knock on the door illegally? Exactly. There's something about the soul, about transformation, like overnight they flip. When you look at this and you say the book, transitions, revelations, not biblical, about justice, like they make a decision based on even their licensure, and then all of a sudden they're like, I don't understand why. I'm sitting in a prosecutor's energy in a court of law. But you were brave and you did it. And they go, it's happened before. All of a sudden, they're like, I swear to God, like they were never like that. And then they say, like Minnesota, how they had that incident. And you look at his roommate and you say, were you aware that he was going to shoot 2 politicians? Was it really that hard? There's something about devotion also. So when you see it and you go, identity, we look at rabbit, we look at tree, we look at everything. Why is it a witch hunt? Those are the obscurities. They lock and block. They're usually specific. It sometimes is a recognize to all of it, but did they truly recognize? So let's look at noose again. Anxiety, threat, self-sabotage. Yep. All of a sudden they're cutting. All of a sudden they're depressed. Huge changes. So then when you go to behavioral health and cognitive health, to mental health, and they're like, no, I don't need it. No, I don't need it. There's something wrong. Something wrong. So are we preaching or are we being repetitive? Not sure yet. Not sure yet. Not trying to be nasty, but this is exactly where it was with him. So is it wishes, ambitions, and wandering? Is it wisdom, good roots, and connections? It really wasn't hard to figure out. So when I looked at rabbit, waiting, making leaps in adventure, endurance, usually when it comes to that, that's why court is so slow. It's not fast because there's emerging details all the time. Vision, yep, they can see some things. Strongholds, manhandles, true, absolutely true. Usually it is right there. And that is one of the things that came out of human rights abuse, out of the mental health facilities. It was because of manhandles and strongholds to where they caused untimely deaths because they weren't trained properly on how to do it properly. It was an old form of fashion from the 1910 to 1917. So when you look at it as a healthcare professional, you have to say, how are they reacting? Usually they have like a lot of GI upset to constipation, to actual brain fog, to where they actually are acting like a seizure, but there's no seizure activity. That is where it's strange. So when I look at it as far as that individual, I see that he had a stronghold manhandle that was rare, only seen in Europe. Seen. You can tell it's like flying through here. Can they? It has been addressed before on here. Can someone with medical marijuana use it for criminal intent? Yes. Yes, it can. That's always the potential. That's why it's always under review. So going back, and you see pond with this individual looking inward in inspiration, uncertainty. Yep. Do you really want to take a look in on that? It's really hard. They hadn't done that in a really long time. So we have glove. We see belonging. And then we see boar. Yep, I'd have to say something was like dirty within with toxic masculinity. I'm seeing actual sorcery with him. I don't see high priest. I don't see wizard with him. I don't see anything, and those are all coven ranks. With Maxwell, I do see high priestess. But why do I see high priest in her? Is she too? Does she have somebody within her? Spider, lion, mastery. They were really good. So are they a 3? This is scary. So when I say that, I have to say, how are they all working together? Ins. Some people can actually do ins. It's heritage and culture, depending on where they grew up. Money, status, complacency. That was the worry for them. status, complacency. What else do we need to know? Divine position to path unknown. Witch doctor with them. Inner circle, normal. They're allowed to practice their religion. Something about like a church, like a study of ancestors, a study of past lives, a study of a type of magic that is harsh. In crescent moon in reverse, 6 of keys, I'd have to say, like, if they were on the island and I see the way the tide rolled in, I'd have to say be careful of when you were swimming. When I see this and I see the Queen of Scrolls, because the water was dirty, it would like already be known with anyone else. And then all of a sudden there's like a marriage. All of a sudden there is like commitment because they saw it. Like, my God, in this like coven, this like inner circle, you saw it, you heard it, you felt it, and it was so right there. But they weren't intoxicated. And then it goes, it wasn't a joke because it actually works out well. That's why it's scary, because it's so sudden movement. When you look at this and you go, is it up in the air? No. Is it something to look for, like buried treasure? I see treasure like heart. When I see this and I see the 2 worlds in reverse, I have to say, yes, like 2 realms. And then when you see this and you say it was clear, like you could actually just like walk on the path and it was fine and it was on track. Yep. How, like, I'm looking at if they were doing dirty magic. Dirty magic means they didn't actually clean themselves up before they actually did magic, because you have to be clean and sober to where you can actually see clearly through it. It's really hard. So when you see this and you actually say justice in reverse, yep, it's blunt. Daughter of Cups, you go, no more, no more, no more. End it right now. You can't even see how bad it goes. To the lesson of like lesser difficulty. So this is no victory. This is the 6 of Wands in reverse. No victory. No victory whatsoever. Why? Because all of a sudden they would walk in, they're like, so we did an audit and you didn't do this. And then they go, but I was working, like I was at my pace and I did all my, like, no, you actually missed something. That is the way it comes in so hard that you can't even understand. So when you look at it and you have to say, boil it down to basics, that's why we have policies, procedures, and protocols in accordance to the general statutes. You go, you can't even believe it, how hard it was to prove it. All right. So when I see this 5 of Swords in reverse, the obscurity, like you can't even like rack your brain around it. And it really is. And there really is no like form of a joke of a turbulent enforce with this. It really goes to like moving on, like of like calmer waters that it came to them. Sitting at a little bit more of a block. Let's see if we can see through this block with them. it really is like known. Like when I look at her, I say like it was known that you were doing illegal substances and you were doing dirty magic and you were doing like that's how hard you have to see it right through as a psychic. And when you see it, like there was hidden motives, like what were you doing with those individuals? Like you fell into this like craving of splendor, of like nastiness of what we call society because it impeded their rights. Everything. So when I see it, I say, you did rock hard to a bottom, then I already know what type of illegal substances because it's already been studied and it's out there in the public that you can read about it with the crime families. It's like everything and anything is something to nothing. So really it becomes like a repeat and repeat, but not really. What is this block that we can't even see in local news down to like a community newspaper? It has to do with animals. That's what I'm saying. Animals. So when I see it and I say, you can't even talk about what they did with animals. It's just old study. It really is King of Pentacles in reverse. Oh my God, you can't talk about UFOs. You can't talk about aliens. You can't talk about, but we just put out there with the Animal Privacy Act. There's like Animal Privacy Act. I'm like, I swear to God, somebody caught that. It had to do with greed to a turning point where actually people walked away. Like it's devastating. So when you see this and you see, yep, they were happy about this, to the point where you see this, where it goes legal contracts, military, law enforcement, to judicial, to lawyers, to no inheritance. Then you hear you're out in the community and they're going onto properties because they were told they have to own their own home because there is no good wealth, that everything is still fluoride. And then you go, oh my God, like where did this actually do? What is this? I feel like it actually is residual of their instances, like it popped up worse than a toaster. So when I see it and I say, you have to sit calmly and like put yourself in a position where you can actually do something well. And they don't get the message because they're on a blinded track. Divorces? Yep. I'd have to say, who are they hanging out with? Who is in the area that they have it? Are they in get-togethers? Are they like celebrating with friends? Are they like with this? Like it's really disheartening. So then you go working of oneself. That's all that means. It's not magician. It's like working of oneself on how they go about their day. So when you look at this and you go, opening doors, yep, in a way, and then you look at it, it is astrological. We're all connected to the universe somehow, some way, connected to each other. And it's not a string or a line or a tie or a tether or to a bond, unless you're in a certain area. That's what we're talking about. Is it a tie, a tether, a bond? Is it a line of transference? That's seen usually with EOD. So when you see this, a line of transference, you have to say, did it actually go into your head? And then you set vibration. Yeah. How are you vibrating? And then you look at this, it's like on a point blank. When you look at this and you go, holy cow, universal knowledge, it will kick up again. I don't feel like it's done at all, what I'm saying, but we'll pull cards on it. There's something about a union. All forms of the meaning of the union. Like you can dig and dig and dig and you'll still find more information about what they did because it was so magnanimous. All right. Let's look at this. Peach Moonstone Runes. Ghost Town. Ghost Town. With this. This is what you guys can't see. Ghost Town. That's what I'm getting through the runes right now from the energy. It is like, when I say ghost town, you look at maybe your neighbor walking up the road or riding a bike, and then all of a sudden you see nothing for weeks. And then you say, where have you been? Is it like COVID, where we're all going to have to talk online again? So when I look at it and I say, it really is like a flame. A flame. I'd have to say fire season. Living to actual like closing the door to where is it like a baby boom? When it goes to this power, is it electricity? Is it the grid? Is it a flip? Everyone goes, nope, not yet. Nope. It is like a solid plan. And then you go havoc, instinct. When you see this and you say it's happy, when you see it, and then you go, look, we've got firewood. Couldn't even see it coming. Couldn't even see it coming. And you go, wow, look at this. Wealthy, wealthy. Where is this like chewy to Chewbacca? Where is this going? So, looking at how the others have been talking about like ascension and about how aligning and attuning in your chakras, to where you talk about all these hard instances. Was there a grand rising? Was there the grand illusion? Yes, it's usually in April. Usually. They are pretty strict on timelines on when that happens. So, did they? Absolutely. It was like a puff cloud in everyone's face, but really it was cigars. It caused a pause. It went to, like, that's how simple and good that they got. And that is where we talked about the Titanic, about Getty and Vanderbilt and Astor, that it really had to be snuffed out. And when I see it and I say they had securement on everything and anything and something and nothing, and that they could lead you through, it really looked hard. So when I see it and I say there really is a takeaway to a carry away, to the point of like judgment, I'd have to say the energy of like a community, about money, about, like a family, like something about a family reunion, about him, childhood. I see 3. They're like golden children. And he was like dirt. He was dirt. He literally had to learn how to flip luck. By 9 years old, he could flip luck. Drowning? Something about dry drownings. 9 of Cups, like, I see happy family after. Something about like living in the woods with Maxwell, the fox. The fox and the hound is a trigger for her. Page of Pentacles. I'd have to say they would not like Appalachia. Knight of Swords. To where it goes, there's a lot more to everything. They think as soon as it's put out there, it's done. It's not. It's not even done. It is a deceitful walk away. When you see this and you see justice again. It was too quick. Like, they didn't even go to court. They're like, we're done. We served. We're good. All right. Let's look at the Starseed Oracle. What else do we need to know about the obscurity with Jeffrey Epstein, especially the media? Like, soul gifts, training, it's time to step up. And then inner child, tenderness, innocent, rare gifts. Like, he needed gifts to get what he needed. Because if he was considered dirt, all the other children were golden children, that you just couldn't get anything done with him. There it is. We got it out. It's not time yet. Things are being woven. And you're like, no, I did it. I did everything. Like, he came in like a cape. It was odd. So he had everything set, like, for him, before him. And then as he walked into that energy, and it was already on the back, and it played out. It wasn't warlocking. It's odd. It's like, it has something to do with satanical measure. It's called a warbery path, where they have been doing smoke a toka loka hoke and locking people up with their energy. Like, their energy was so bad and toxic that it made everyone sick. So when I see light body, crystal grid transmission, activation, who knows who else was working with them and how he set it up. That's why, like, it's not done, not even with the crime families or anything like that. My will to thy will, to micromanaging the universe, Dahmer. Like, you can feel that man's energy coming even prior to anything like that, to where everyone is dirt poor. Because he was known. Entitlement to ranks. So when you see this, you say intelligence in the universe, like, they knew it. Like, they were the universe's gift, as we talked about. So when you say this and you say stop, embrace the winter cosmic womb, you're going to use universal precautions. When you see horse energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust, you can't even see it coming. When you look at this and you say trust the wave you come in and time is not running out, you have to say you can't even believe it. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. Then you go to the Middle East. That's where it like stops right there. Because then it goes slow down in time and nature. Like, you will fast forward when you study the Middle East with Jeffrey Epstein. That is where we stop the show. So with that being said, we're going to take a break from that gentleman, because you can already feel it. Like, don't even go near this individual right now. So with any questions or concerns, leave a like, a comment, a share, an email, a subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. We will talk to you tomorrow, and have a good day.